What's up guys, my name is Khan and we're back today with more Railroads Online, and today I wanted to do one last little piece of sort of track maintenance, I guess, at the freight depot before we go and venture out. If we take a look at the map, we've made it so far to the logging camp and the sawmill. According to pretty much everybody in the comments section and everyone I talked to about this game, the smelter is the next destination, so I do want to start working on a track to get there. But before we do that, I want to do one last piece here, which was make a proper round table for storing engines. We do have one here currently, but there's no actual lanes for storing the engines, so that's sort of an issue. And then another issue I want to address is the fact that I don't know where my tender is for the Eureka. I had the Eureka parked on the round table, I reloaded the game, and the Eureka was basically like right in front of the round table, and the tender is gone. I don't know where it is. It's vanished. I don't know if it's coming back. It didn't say anything. It didn't leave a note. Literally zero clue what happened to my tender. But interestingly, if we get in the Eureka, the water level is 2950, which I thought meant that it has a tender attached to it. So I don't really know what's going on. But anyway, this is actually a perfect opportunity because we're going to make a engine storage area here. So we're just going to get the Eureka off this section of track. So I am going to buy another Eureka at some point. I would like to have one of every engine obviously stored around the yard, but I need a roundhouse, which is like all these lanes that pop off the round table so that I can actually store each engine in its own lane. Now, normally that would all be covered with a structure, hence the roundhouse, but we can't actually build buildings yet, so we're just going to leave it all open. And the one thing I will say, though, it's kind of a blessing we don't have a tender. A lot of people were commenting when I said, you know, I didn't know what to write on the tender. A lot of people were saying you actually should have the name of your rail company written on the tender, and then on the engine you should write like engine number 1, engine 2, or whatever the name of that particular engine is. So I don't have a name for the rail company. I figured best thing to do, everyone should put in the comments down below what they think the name of my rail company should be. What should we call it? And then I'll start labeling all the tenders with that name. When I buy a new Eureka, I'll have a new tender and all that nonsense. I don't know what happened to the tender. Apparently the round table just eats tenders. I'm not exactly sure. But regardless, we're going to actually have a whole name for the company, and we should do that. And guys, keep it appropriate, please. I want to see some appropriate, good, intelligent, you know, maybe some witty names, and I'll go through all the comments and pick a name before I buy the next engine. So that'll be super exciting to see what you guys can come up with. You know, if I have to name it, it's going to be like Khan's Train Co. or something like that. It's just, you know, it's just a terrible name. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure you put your names down, and you know, best name I guess will just have the bragging rights of being able to say, haha, that's my name on the side of all those tenders. So what I want to do with this is I actually want to move this switch back to here because the round table needs enough space to have engines coming off in every direction, and then we're just going to basically make a bunch of lanes for each of the engines and, you know, park them however we want. Obviously, most of the lanes are going to be empty right now because we don't have that much money. It's not exactly the straightest track in the world, but it'll do. It'll be good enough. I might come back and clean that up later. It doesn't really matter. This is sort of like the spawning rail line, so this is where we're going to spawn all our trains, and that's why I want the round table for the engines right here, so we can just, you know, spawn the trains, pull the engine off, you know, bring it in, hook it up to whatever we need, bring it out, and then eventually, once it's out on the main line section, it'll never really come back into this section unless it's picking up more cars or something. Like otherwise it'll pretty much always stay out on the main line, come into the freight depot, and we'll have more and more shunting yards built up around the freight depot here. So it'll be perfect. This is really just a good spot to store engines, and hopefully we don't go so far as to get into that, you know, engine area. Now what I want to do is just lay some groundwork real quick. So we're actually just going to delete this like that, right? Delete this switch, because then we can actually, you know, place the groundwork right here. And just using that other piece is sort of like a reference to know, you know, where the switch goes off. So we come like this and click that, and then we can go just like that. Perfect. And now it's always, you know, we know it's going to be lined up. So it's going to be a relatively gradual turn. I'm just going to freehand it. Doesn't have to be anything too fancy. Again, engines on this would be going really, really slow. It's in no way a actual proper main line. And we'll go out to here. Perfect. And then click and click. And there you can see in the distance the track for spawning engines. But I feel like something like this should be far enough. You know, I think we're far enough away we could store engines all around a round table that we put here. So we'll just clear some of the trees, and we'll put our track out to this spot. All right, I think this looks good. It's a nice, clean turnoff. I mean, like I said, you know, not going to be a high-speed line, so it doesn't really have to be perfect. Although I kind of do find myself always going back and, you know, if there's a section of track that's just off by the slightest little bit, the more I drive it, the more it bothers me. You know, if it's perfect or, you know, good enough, as long as it looks good when you're driving by, it doesn't bother me. But as soon as I notice that there's a little kink or a little squiggle or whatever, you know, I have to like spend hours and hours and hours and hours perfecting it. As long as I don't notice, it's fine. As soon as I notice, it's terrible. But anyway, we're gonna back the Eureka up down this line. This actually looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this curve. It's not the worst. And we'll just slow her up nice and smooth here. Better have the compressor to make sure we keep brake pressure going. All right, perfect. Perfect. This is gonna look great, actually. Having our nice round table back here and then having all the train engines parked. We could bring it a little closer, but it's okay. I'm gonna actually leave it out there. And I think what we could do is put like a water tower right here. So as the engine comes off, you can pick up some fresh water or something, maybe a firewood depot as well. But let's put down a round table. So turntable 2, this one has a deck. I kind of like the look of this one, to be perfectly honest. So if we put that there, okay, I got to clear this foundation back a little bit. Okay, a little too much, but that's okay. We'll patch this up, no problem. So now the hard part is linking all the rails that come off of this, because there's literally, this doesn't have a snap point, does it? No, it doesn't actually. So I can link the round table, and that'll link to that. Interesting. What if I move the round table? If I move it to like a position over here, this is going to be the hard part, is actually lining up all these rails to be perfect. I mean, getting the okay, so first thing we can do, we can clear some trees. That's you know, that's going to have to happen regardless. So let's clear some of the trees around this. Right, and then the second thing we need is we need a foundation for the height of all the tracks, which is easy enough to do. We just, you know, grab off this and go click, and there we go, perfect. This doesn't have to be good at all. This is all going to get deleted later. But, you know, this is just approximating the height, so that's easy enough. Then we just got to, I guess at how to line up the rails and just kind of go for it. I'm assuming there's no real easy way to actually snap. Thank you. All right, one more. Nope. Perfect. All right, so that gives us our height. But there's no snap point for this stuff. So our next rail would be realistically something like this, right? But there's no way for me to actually make this. No, actually there is not. Interesting. This is going to be a difficult one. All right, I'm going to think about this and come back with a genius solution. All right, so after much careful deliberation, planning, and expert analysis, I have determined that the only good way to line this up perfectly is to wing it. We're literally just gonna have to wing it. I tried like every combination of like switches and crossover pieces to try and get it straight, and none of them like line up. They're all different lengths. Like for example, the round table seems to be some length that's slightly shorter than a switch, but longer than multiple cross pieces stacked together. So there are some obvious ones we can do. For example, we can easily line up the one directly across to be perfectly straight. So we put a crossover piece there. That can be a placeholder, and then we just can rotate this to line up with where that is, and of course draw a track line, boom, done, and put some foundation coming out. So that's not a big deal. We'll delete this foundation ring after, obviously. That's just, again, here to line up the heights of things. So this one's obviously easy, but then after that, we're literally just gonna have to wing it in pairs. We're gonna have to like rotate the table to where we want it, and then just try and approximate track positions on both sides of it and hope that it works. So, you know, for example, that's position number 1-ish. This whole thing is just going to be a giant approximation. And then here we put some groundwork coming off of this and just going straight out. I don't know how far out we need to go. I guess we need to figure out a proper unit for this. So let's see here. What if I put, that was one switch. Oh my God, there's no way to actually do this precisely. Close enough. Okay, so we're gonna go out, I don't know. We'll put this here. We'll go at a full turntable, right? That's what we need. Realistically, if you can't fit on the turntable, then you can't park in the spot. So we don't really actually need that much. So let's go out just one, maybe 4 of these crossover pieces. Something like that. Perfect. Out to a little bit past it. Excellent. We might have to make a stopper of some kind at some point. And then we'll put our crossover piece at the end. Demolish these. Bring our rail back. Now we can demolish this. Excellent. And we can go like this. Right, and then this last piece we're just gonna have to sort of approximate. So we'll delete that. Clear out the curve right over there. Oh, that looks clean. That's pretty stellar. See, they need a link point here. So when I've got this placed, I can link from that out. But anyway, we can go like this and just sort of approximate it as best we can and get it as close as... No, I need it. See, I need it to... there's no way a train makes that gap. Okay, the foundation has to come in further first before we... There we go, yeah. So we place the foundation, whatever, it doesn't really matter. We just need a place to put the rail, and then we'll delete all that after. So we come like this, nice and close. Okay, like that. That's gotta be good enough, right? And then demolish. Perfect. So that's 1 lane down. And just, 20 more to go. So there is one thing we can do to kind of help us with the 90-degree guys. And that's actually just use some parallel pieces. So we can go like this, for example, and I can come out, and this won't make it to the middle, but I can actually use this as sort of an alignment tool to make sure we're aligned elsewhere. So if I go like this and try and place in the middle, you can see if we rotate this, it's not perfectly lined up, right? But we can kind of just approximate it now a little bit easier. So it should be like that. That's pretty good, right? So we're gonna place some groundwork for these lanes. Just kind of guess at it for now. Something like this, right? That lane went out 3 of the units, but we can always extend these lanes as well, depending on what we need. And then for this, we're just literally gonna approximate it as best we can with these crossover pieces. And then we'll have to correct for it afterwards. I think that, that seems really high up, doesn't it? I don't know, I guess it's a little bit of a lip, but not too big a deal. All right. Perfect. Let's do the other side as well. It's actually really interesting to build in this game because you have to do some weird steps sometimes to get the desired outcome. But once it's done, it looks fantastic. So we're gonna come out here. This is probably gonna be good enough. I don't know, maybe a little further, something like that. All right, excellent. And then we got to, once again, place some of these pieces, these crossovers. I really like building with these crossovers. They keep your lines, as straight as possible, I guess. All right, just kind of... I should really actually, you know what? I should just build straight across from this side. What am I even doing? Just go like this, go switch right. There we go, that's good enough. And then just build crossover straight off that. Perfect. Man, this is this is quite a process. I didn't really, to be honest, I didn't really need these alignment guys at all. You just kind of can align it straight with that thing, but anyway, it doesn't matter. All right, perfect. Get rid of that. And then we just need to clean these guys up. So we'll put a crossover at the end, demolish these, put in some straight track, and then demolish this and put in another piece of straight track. Whoops, that wasn't straight. There we go. And then finally demolish this and just kind of guess at where this is gonna go. As close as possible. Come on, no. Sometimes it get right. Okay, that's perfect. Perfect, that's close enough. That'll do. I feel like there's enough give on the train engine wheels that, if you're going slow enough, you can see there's kind of a little bit of like a bow at the end of that, but I think it's honestly gonna be good enough. Actually, to be honest, we can just move this. It's because this is over. We should just do that, and then I can just fix this easily. And don't worry, that graphics stuff, that's just foundation placed in itself with like another piece of foundation, but we're gonna clean that up in a second here. All right, perfect. Now we'll do the other side. And now we'll at least have 4 lanes, and then we just gotta do the 45-degree ones, which are you know, going to be so much worse because there's no way to align it. I really wish, like, maybe this would be a cool update in the future. It would be super neat if the round table had snap points, like just around the outside of it where you could snap your rail to, and, you know, maybe have them at like every 45 degrees or every 30 degrees or something. But that would be super, super convenient because it snaps at the first spot, but then you literally can't line up rail after that point. So it's just very, very difficult. Everything's sort of freehand. And, you know, as great as you can make freehand look, it really does take a long time to make freehand, you know, proper straight and all that. And, you know, as you can see with how this is going, even then it's still not totally perfect. Like, look, it's there. Come on, that. Okay. Like, see, it's still got a little bit of a bow to it. You can tell. Good enough. We're gonna leave it. That's perfect. We've got 3 lanes now. Plus, we've got the fourth drive in, so that's excellent. So now we're just gonna do another 4 lanes, and probably in the exact same method. It's gonna, you know, suck because we're just guessing, but we're gonna do it, and then we're gonna see what it looks like when it's all done. All right, so I kind of figured the easiest way to do these 45 degrees is actually to do one first. So I tried to line this one up as best we could with the crossover pieces, and then to go across, we're just gonna place a switch. And I mean, you can tell that's pretty good. Like, I mean, you know, it's kind of clipped in the other one, but, you know, it's not bad, right? So then that's a good starting point, and then we'll just, you know, put down some groundwork here because we'll need that for stuff later, and we can just build right off this switch. And ideally, if we delete the switch, like, that should be pretty close to lined up with that other side, right? So hopefully this will be good enough, again, just to park engines on it. It's really a pain not having snap points. I mean, that's just because, you know, to be fair, it doesn't really matter. You know, you can have rails in this game that aren't perfectly straight, and it's not really going to affect the performance of your train. I'm just like one of those perfectionist type people that really wants everything to be like perfectly straight, all the angles to be perfectly aligned, and stuff like that. But here we go. We're going to put the foundation here. Once again, put another turntable rail piece. The more I build of this, though, the better it's looking. Honestly, I feel like I'm, you know, the mistakes, the slight offsets you get from freehanding it, it's not as noticeable as I thought it would be. Although it is noticeable a little bit. So there we go. We delete that. We put some foundation into here just to provide a support place. And then we line up this rail as perfect as we can. Come on, rail. Come on. There, no. There, no, not that close. There we go. There was the spot. Oh, it's so hard to get this last little bit. It's close enough, right? Perfect. And then we delete this. And look at that. That's another lane. That looks pretty good. It's pretty good. Oh, yeah, we delete this too. We're going to need to put stoppers on all these lanes, but these are actually not bad. And we wouldn't maybe we could fit a lane in between these if we really wanted to at some point, put an extra one. Yeah, we probably could, but for now, we're just going to have it with 8. I don't even think there's 8 engines. Let's do a quick check here. We've got all the cars, which is whatever. We've got a Porter 2, that's 3 engines, 4, 5, 6, 7. So there's only 7 engines right now, and actually this will be perfect. This is a 7-engine line, and on top of that, the Porters are small. You could really put 2 Porters on a line, but I think we could actually increase this up to be a total of what, like 16 or something like that. I feel like we'd have enough space for it. All right, we're just gonna connect this rail on this side, and then we have one more set of switches to build, or one more set of lanes, I guess they're called. I don't know what they'd be called. Lanes, I guess. Train engine parking spots. Good enough. That's a really, really close one. I feel like that wouldn't actually work in real life because the rails would rub. I don't think there's any collisions in this, like, based on the fact that you can put rails quite literally inside of other rails. So you could just, you know, as long as your train doesn't break on it, you'll be fine. That looks good, though. That's perfect. Another 2 lanes. All right, so we just got to rotate this to the final position. Somewhere over here. Oh, this is going to be so cool once we got engines. It's going to be kind of a pain to walk around. We might have to extend all these lanes out a little bit because this giant stick is going to get in the way. I forgot that the stick is a thing, but I don't think it has collisions, so either way, though, some of these longer engines, we might need longer lanes. But this is just really a good starting point. That's sort of the big thing, is to make sure we have a good spot where we can start that are all straight coming off of it, and then eventually, you know, you can extend them as far as you want, right? Like, it's not a big deal. But getting this set up, like, perfect is, it's very much a process. I think this is good enough. Is that... Looks good enough, right? So like I said, it's not going to be perfect, but, you know, it should be close enough to get the trains off onto these shunt lanes. If they do come out with an ability to snap to the turntable, you can guarantee I'm going to rebuild this whole section with perfect snapping. Even if I'm only off by like 2 degrees, I would still rebuild it because I'm the kind of person that I would just like to have it perfect. But anyway, we're going to demolish this. That should be the last piece of that. Perfect. And we just got to do these last 2 connecting sections. So we're just going to put some nonsense groundwork here for now and connect this one up, make it look as good as we can. That's gonna, close enough, something like that. Perfect. And this one, same deal. As close as we can. If it'll, yeah, no, come on. There's like preset snap points almost that you have to kind of just get in between. It's not exactly every pixel. There we go. It's good enough, right? It's a little bit sloped, but if I rotate this just the slightest little bit, is that good? Do I need to fix that? These 45-degree lanes, they're a little bit difficult to line up. You know, I think that's gonna be good enough. It'll be fine. It'll work. I'm not too worried. If it becomes a problem, like it derails trains, we'll have to fix them up. We'll clean them up. But there we go. We got a nice little roundhouse. This looks great. Or round table, I guess. It's not really a roundhouse because these lanes aren't structured, but that's fantastic. Look at that. We can oh, I gotta delete this. Hold on. This looks stupid. There we go. Perfect. Gonna have to put some stoppers on the end of it at some point. There currently aren't actually any stoppers in the game. Could use like water towers or something if we really wanted to. Or I guess we'd have to use some like groundwork, some stone walls, or maybe even like bridge pieces or something. But look at this. This is awesome. This looks so good. This one slopes down from the middle. Interesting. Wonder if they all do that. It's just this one. Oh, they all do. They all ramp down a little bit. So the round table, they have a little bit of a slope down. So we're definitely going to need stoppers on them. If you have no brakes, you aren't going to be stopping in these lanes. But that's okay. Well, let's actually let's rotate this into position and let's start parking our trains. Maybe we get the Porter too and park it as well, just because I want to see what it looks like with multiple trains parked in. But there we go. That should be good enough. We'll back the Eureka up until we get a new Eureka. And then we'll, eventually when we get a new one, we'll get rid of this one. People were saying, too, you can sell trains in this game. I heard a bunch of people in the comments who were like, sell your Eureka, it's nonsense. Where do you sell trains? If I demolish it, I'm pretty sure it just gives me no money. So if someone knows how to sell a train, let me know in the comments down below, because I definitely would sell this half engine and, you know, get a new one that has a tender. I don't know what happened to the tender. We're good. We got boiler pressure. It's got to go nice and slow here. Turn off the regulator there. Just let us coast in. And I'm going to park the Eureka in this first lane on the left. So let's just give it a little bit of brake. All right. That's perfect. Would this fit with its tender? Like barely, right? I feel like, yeah, it would probably barely fit with its tender. If it doesn't fit with its tender, I don't know what the devs want you to do with these bigger engines. I guess park them on shunt lanes. I feel like at some point there's going to be an engine that's bigger than this round table, or maybe there already is. But either way, this is a good spot to store the smaller engines regardless. We got to bring this all the way around. Oh man, this is so cool. I love this. I remember when I was a kid and my parents would take us to like train yards and stuff, and like there were always these like vintage train museums you could go to, and they had sometimes working locomotives and round tables. And I always thought it was the coolest thing when you have these like huge trains being spun on this round table. It was always a neat thing to see. All right, why does those rails look so high up? Oh my God. There's no way this train is making that gap. Holy cow. Okay, I gotta fix that. Wow, that is brutal. They are really, really high up. Bring that closer. Perfect. Delete this extra nonsense. It's still got a little bit of a lip. That's interesting. I wonder if the round table itself causes a bit of the lip. Yeah. Maybe. That's not that bad, though. That'll be fine. All right, let's back her up. Get her on this lane. Good enough. I mean, it's empty engines. They should be able to hit a little bit of a lip without too big of a problem. Of course, if I get yeeted right now, we're fine. That's perfect. All right. Back this one up. Put on full brake. Excellent. Let's maybe go a little bit further back. Perfect. Oh, that looks wonderful. Now you're never gonna leave this spot, Eureka. You are going to rust in that spot. Actually, you're gonna stay in that spot until I demolish you and buy a new version that then is going to rust in that spot. Let's go get the porter. Just park it in there for now, so it you know, we can see what it looks like. We might as well actually might as well grab this stupid rail cart that spawns here and move it there too. I don't know if the rail cart will despawn though, but yeah, let's just take the rail cart and park it in one of the lanes with the porter. Why not? I'll throw it in the back of one of the lanes and then put the porter out front. Here we go. The amazing rail cart. Let's give her. I don't know why this exists because I feel like you can walk faster. But maybe, I don't know, maybe if you want to like build a super steep track and roll it down it like a roller coaster, maybe that's why you need a rail cart. But I'm pretty sure we're faster walking than this thing. All right, hold up here. We got to hit this switch. Oh man, this looks so cool. I love the way it looks in the clearing there. With just, I gotta build definitely a structure around it at some point if we get structures or, you know, put some signals and possibly extend these lanes out. But there's definitely room to extend all the lanes out. But it looks so cool. It really does. It's gonna be great when we've got all the engines laid out here and you can just go in and basically like choose your weapon. And then, you know, you bring your engine out, you assemble your train, and then you go onwards to victory. It's just so cool. I love this game. I love the fact that, you know, you can really build whatever you want in terms of track layout, and I think that's amazing. Of course, that process with the Roundtable is very tedious. You can see all the lanes do slope up to the middle, so hopefully they don't have as big a gap as that one. Even that one, after fixing it, still slopes up to the middle, so it's got to be something with placing the foundation on the Roundtable or whatever. Maybe the Roundtable brings it up or something like that. But either way, as long as I can park trains in it, it really doesn't matter. They're not ever going to move fast around there. It's just got to make sure it doesn't derail them. All right, we're just going to back the handcart up onto the turntable. We're not going to put it in a lane yet because we're going to bring the porter around and just put them both together. They're so small that they'll just easily fit on it all at once. So we'll just back this thing straight up. At least the through track, the initial one you see, looks really straight. So that's good. All right, full brake. Full brake. Perfect. Let's go get the porter. The biggest thing with this game, I find, is making sure you have spots to put all your trains because, you know, you have lines and all this and you build switch-offs and all that, but once you start having, you know, coal trains and all these different resources, we're going to need space to put all the engines for them, all the cars for them, and yeah, we're going to have to build shunting lanes at the various, you know, facilities as well. Like, we shouldn't be storing log carts here at the main area. But regardless, still really cool to have the engine storage. And, you know, it's starting to feel more like a freight yard. You know what I mean? We got an engine storage now. If I turn that into a building, it would look like a roundhouse over there. It would be sweet. We'd have our roundhouse. We'd have our shunt areas, you know, our marshalling yard or whatever. It's just super cool how this game really starts to feel more and more alive. I still remember when I first loaded into this game and was trying to figure out everything, and there's just like these tracks that go into trees and there's nothing there. And it feels like we've come a long way, even though we've only been playing really for a short amount of time. And so I'm super excited to keep going and just having railroads all over the map. Like, this is the main line currently, but eventually this is going to have to be like, you know, double tracked or tracked with a bunch of sidings for people to pass on, because I am going to at some point run more than one train at the same time, you know, and have people come in and help run some trains to make some serious cash and, you know, run the industries. So gonna need lots more track, and I'm super excited to build it, even though it takes a while. All right, backing Betsy in. Gotta go nice and slow so we don't accidentally hit the hand cart off the turntable. Although I'm sure we'll be fine. And then we're going to put both of them just on one of the lines close to the Eureka there. Excellent. Full brake. Perfect. Let's rotate this way. Oh, this is cool. I really like this. This is actually one of my favorite things to do in the game, to be perfectly honest. I mean, shunting is cool. It's really cool when you have to shunt the trains around and move them and, you know, switches and all that. But the turntables are just fantastic. I should probably also put a turntable like on the line right here when you spawn that you just drive through, just so that if there's a carriage that's backwards, we could flip it right side forward, you know, or whatever. But that's not really a big deal. Job for another day. Let's just line this up with that. Let's just, yeah, push that against its brakes. Doesn't really matter. I don't even know if that thing's brakes do anything. All right. Perfect. Just park Betsy over here. Excellent. And then we can just rotate our round table back to the start position or whatever and pick whatever engine we want and get about going through the day's jobs. So let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. This is a super cool build. I'm super excited to do this. I do want to get into more advanced products. Right now I've just been making money through logs, and it's not that profitable. So we got to get into some more advanced products. Everyone's been telling me the route to the smelter is super treacherous, and it's really just a difficult time to get there. So I'm kind of excited to try it out and see what happens. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Make sure, of course, you hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. And as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and we'll see y'all next time.